Welcome to Geordie Lass Doc Sass. One day, a Geordie and a Canadian walk into a bar and decide to start a podcast about relationships and what a topic that is. No subjects are off limits. Get in touch today with us at geordielass.com or email info@geordielass.com and let us know what you think and what we should talk about. Oh, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Sara. Hi.
Welcome.
Hi.
I'm slightly croaky today, so I hope I can make it through the podcast. Okay.
Oh, you are croaky. I'm going to try to take it easy on you because not be so misbehaved because you're really coming.
I'm not sure you've got that in your power.
Oh, you're so right. Actually, what am I saying? What? Not be misbehaved? Sexy Anna? No. But may I say you look gorgeous in your beautiful pink fluffy sweater. Or it looks like looks very cozy.
It is. It's my cozy. I needed warmth and coziness today because I'm feeling slightly below par.
Yeah. All right, everyone. So let's take it easy on Sara today. Yes, absolutely.
I'm sure the podcast will still give me a run for my money.
You've got it. So when this comes out, I think it's going to be St. Paddy's Day, actually. Ish.
Oh,
Ish.
Yes. Well,
approaching.
We're a bit fluid nowadays.
It's so true. It's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Yes, we shall wish all of our Irish listeners, as we know we have some,
yes we do.
Merry, happy St. Paddy's Day.
Happy St. Paddy's Day. Green beer, Guinness. Right, because we had this like huge bump in folks listening from Ireland. So like, hello. Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay. Oh my gracious. There's this, did I tell you, there's this really beautiful tourism ad campaign that has been hitting up in Canada, which is this like, press the green button.
Yes,
you press the green button. Did I tell you that? I got to say that once again for my Irish listeners.
You've got to an age now where you're repeating yourself.
I am, totally. Yeah. One of my friends is like, Anna, you're a cougar. I'm like, and I also have dementia, early onset. It's so great. Did I wear this leopard print the last week? Oh, I can't remember.
Is that a demented cougar?
A demented cougar. Exactly. So attractive.
Being in a picture.
Oh, you've got it. All right, love. What's up at the relationship desk of love?
Okay, well, slightly tenuous desk of love today.
Oh.
So I was thinking about, what have I been seeing in the news recently? Mm-hmm. And we've just had International Women's Day. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So there's been a lot about International Women's Day, lots of posts, lots of celebration for women and their successes and support for women. So it kind of got me thinking really about, we have these kind of special days that they're there to kind of help us kind of jog thoughts, to kind of bring things to the forefront and raise things in our consciousness. But it did kind of get me thinking about kind of, how does this translate into relationships and the way that we are? So I was thinking about kind of for all the listeners who identify as male and have, female relationships in their life. Now, this might not just be your partner. This could be your sister, your mother, your auntie, your co-workers. It could be kind of anybody. It might be somebody that you regularly bump into at the bus stop or you see on the bus on a regular basis. So I was thinking about kind of how can we, as a nation, really start to be able to celebrate these things on a regular basis. And how do we get more of this, compassion and kindness and cheerleading and support just into our everyday psyche for the things that we do, rather than it just being on a specific day. Then my thought process went. So during a coaching call today, I won't obviously divulge any personal information. But a common thing came up around this inability to be able to accept our own recognition for our own achievements in life. Mm-hmm. So this kind of comes up. So it also got me thinking to the fact that actually, as well as other people celebrating us and we, us celebrating and championing other people, whether that's kind of as a woman, other women in our lives, or whether it's as, somebody who identifies as male, then, them celebrating kind of people in their lives. How do we also become our own champions and cheerleaders? How do we move beyond this need for other people to recognise the good in us and actually bring it back to recognising the good in ourselves?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So this is my message. I feel like I'm giving a sermon this week.
Oh, I love it. Oh,
Just, get your thinking caps on.
Yeah.
Something to ponder on.
Oh, yes.
If you find this a challenge, which a lot of people do, this comes up in coaching sessions that I have regularly. So it was today just kind of jogged that reminder and helped me make that connection between some of the other things that I've been seeing and thinking about this week.
Oh, beautiful. What is one tangible thing that folks can do to put themselves in that mindset?
So one of the things that I talked about today is around habit stacking. And I think we've talked about this before on the podcast. So how do you weave a habit into another habit that helps you to create this kind of super habit? So there are things, we are designed naturally to do things habitually. Mm-hmm. I mean, heaven help us, we've all been in a car and thought, God, I can't remember that last bit of the journey. And we were the driver.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we're designed to do things in a kind of almost a semi-conscious state so that we can do things quickly. We can learn things. We can we can keep ourselves safe. So we can make a cup of tea without kind of scalding ourselves because we actually know that there's hot water comes out of there and steam. And we should probably stay away from that. Mm-hmm. But how do we build some of those connections? So when we're making tea, when we're brushing teeth in the morning, when we're making lunch, when we're making breakfast, when we're preparing an evening meal, when we're on a commute, how do we then build in some of this reflection time to really create some space to be able to just ponder and ask that question, like, who are the people in my life that I celebrate and what do I celebrate about myself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the more you have that kind of thought process, the more it will just become second nature that you kind of reflect and ponder and think about these things.
Mm. And for that, we have to be present, which means we can't be scrolling. Like, full stop, like you got to get off your phone. Because for reasons untold, I have been on my phone a lot recently. And I feel like I've had my head buried onto the screen. And I come out and I feel like I'm drunk because it's so disorienting to have your eyes on the screen and to realize you've been checked out of real life. It's really an unpleasant feeling. So we got to get off our screens. Yeah. And possibly even like if I was on public transit and I had this thought I was just walking around on the street and I didn't have music in my ears and I was just kind of thinking and so forth. And I thought, man, crossing 44, I really feel like I have more command over my career and the skills within than I ever imagined possible, looking at myself at 20 being like, man, you're kind of a fuck up, right? Or like, you're immature, you don't know what you're doing. And so that would never have occurred to me, like that point of pride, if I had music in my ears and sort of scrolling TikTok. But there's this natural thing that bubbled up on a walk, which was like, man, Anna, like if you looked at yourself at 44 as a 20-year-old, you'd be like, damn, you're pretty baller. Because I'd had, a number of like really cool, sessions that day or whatnot. And anyway, and as I'm saying that, you know what? We're taught to be humble and humility and I have a number of my clients who are like, oh, wait, it's ridiculous. And my clients will be like, well, I don't want to brag. But I'm like, brag, please. That's exactly it's the same in a relationship.
I want to hear how amazing you are.
I want to hear, and without any reservations. I don't want any disclaimers. And the same should be in relationship. Like we should be able to be prideful of ourselves in our relationship with our partner, saying nothing but good on you, way to go. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring more pride and celebration into your life.
Oh my gosh, right?
And into your relationship.
If we're not our own best friend, who's going to be stepping up for that role?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I'm putting my CV in right now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Going to apply for that job.
Yep, personal self-fluffer. I mean, or...
Does that not mean something else? And you should bring in that.
It does. But I'm thinking like it's kind of appropriate, right? Like I fluff my own confidence levels.
Wow, I knew you couldn't behave.
I know. But I couldn't think of any other better word. It works perfectly. Oh, man. Good times. Okay, I'll behave from now on, Sarah. It's going to be very bland
right.
for now.
I believe that when I hear it.
Oh, my God. Well, maybe when we're crossing 90, we'll be like, oh, Anna, you're finally toning down. We'll be like 50 years into the podcast.
I reckon you'll get worse.
Oh, no, actually, that's true. Oh, that's true. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to move us along to a hot topic.
Let's do it.
our topic, common relationship fears. Your partner straying.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's the worst. Right, for me, it's kind of the worst. It's the scariest. Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting thought, right? So I wonder about this topic, whether the fear is connected with what you believe your partner's actions to mean about you and, potentially your relationship, but I think more so about you, as opposed to the fear being, kind of then the future and kind of what that holds.
Oh, I think entirely, because really, if the fear of our partner straying, if we take that down the road of what might actually happen is the partner strays and then they're going to hook up with their fling and then that's going to become a serious thing and then they're going to divorce me and then I'll be alone. That would be the logical, but actually my fears don't go there. When I'm fearful and anxious about my partner straying, I'm not worried that they'll divorce me. So what is the fear then? The fear is actually not rooted in the worst case scenario. It gets something very, very far deeper, which is rejection and abandonment. Yeah. That's where that goes, which is arguably more painful than dealing with a set of life events that happens because of an affair. What do you think? What comes up for you?
I think we really struggle to deal with difficult things because there's this emotional pull that brings us back to a kind of, often it kind of uproots lots of things that we've either put into boxes or things that we thought we dealt with from the past in terms of situations that we've been in or messages that have been reinforced or beliefs that we have. Often we can kind of come to terms with things like that. And, whether that's because we've done the work or whether that's because we've padlocked them away or something in between. Mm-hmm. So we can get to a place where we've got this kind of common kind of even keel and things kind of feel okay. And then this is something that comes and kind of really disrupts things and, upturns your life. And it's almost like the kind of, the floodgates open. It's almost like anything is fair game then when it comes to emotions and feelings. And, very often they're not rational, they're kind of irrational. But at the time it doesn't feel like that. It feels very real and very raw. So I think there's this whole kind of emotional connection. And it's really, really hard to kind of separate then what might be the kind of future options or the chances that this creates, or actually kind of, is this an opportunity to really kind of dig deep into your own self-worth? Mm-hmm. And I think my thoughts around this are we could only be that way if we've almost prepared for it.
So say more about that.
So you'd never sit there, would you? And I'm kind of speaking as thoughts are coming to my mind. So this isn't something that I've thought about or had conversations about, which is testament to really kind of what I'm saying. So if we kind of sat there and thought, well, as we do with lots of things, we can kind of try and preempt and prepare for. So if you think about when you're going on holiday, you take out travel insurance, you route map where you're going, you find out where the train station is, you double check what time your flight is, because you don't want anything to go wrong. You want it to be the best possible experience that it can be. You maybe look at kind of places you want to visit, places you want to eat, what the nightlife is like, other places in the area you can visit. You want to really kind of maximize that opportunity that you've got when you're there. So you do everything you can within your power to make that happen. We never really sit there and go, well, if my partner decides one day he or she is going to stray, how would I deal with it? What would be my thoughts? What would I interpret that as? But actually, what would it mean? So while we're in this kind of safe space of everything kind of feels okay, we never really kind of future-proof ourselves to think, well, do you know what? If they stray, because an alternative view is if my partner has strayed, there's clearly something not right in that relationship. And I've now got two choices. We either work on that, what were the reasons, why did you do it, and kind of free from any sort of emotional draw, which is pretty bloody difficult to do. Or we say, do you know what, this helps me to identify that you are not the right long-term partner for me, because if you're going to let me down on that, if I can't trust you in this area, what other what other parts of life can I not trust you in? If you've shown your true character to be this, and I actually can now see that this is the case, what else does that kind of show to me that maybe I haven't seen before? And that gives me kind of a chance to see the full reality of who you are, and whether that's right for me in our relationship, or whether actually is this a chance to kind of to get out, move on, and find the right person that would treat me with the respect that I want, if I see this as a kind of lack of respect.
Oh my gosh. And then maybe for that lack of respect, like what other feelings would come up around this straying? I mean, I'm going to throw in there profound hurt.
Yeah. But it's kind of almost preparing for some of the things, The way that we get stronger at dealing with adversity is either because we've experienced it and we can see that we've come through the other side, or we've done preparation. So we're doing the work. We are constantly in a kind of state of preparing for the future, for life events. We're contemplating them, not in a kind of morbid or a depressing way, but in a almost kind of like a self-protection, or a way that helps to kind of build those strengths and build those muscles from within.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true. And I work with a lot of clients around hard situations where it's almost like we kind of get into the flight simulators, that we can actually run scenarios on dry land so that we're ready for the rocket, which sometimes works for some and does not work for others. But yeah, so simulating, but you're right. It is highly unusual to put yourself through the emotional grief of simulating a very hurtful event. Most of us don't want to think about it.
Yeah, and you're unlikely to be able to trigger some of those emotions that would come out in an instant, because we don't know. Nobody knows how we'll react to things. But if we at least consider it or give it some thought. But I think the other thing is then about that, if it triggers a thought of lack of self-worth, or kind of believing that there's nobody else out there for you, or kind of, thinking, well, it took long enough to get this relationship, like I'd never get another one. If we've got some of those limiting self-beliefs and that lack of self-worth, actually that gives you something to work on.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
Which, if you're going to do anything to prepare, then, start to bolster yourself. Goes back to the relationship news around, celebrating yourself, looking at your own successes, really kind of focusing on your achievements in life and how bloody great you are.
Yeah, no, and I listen, like, I know this feeling so well, is that the terrifying thing about your partner straying on you is that, like, well, if my partner rejects me, then I'm nothing. I have nothing without my partner. I'm nobody. I don't,
Yeah, but that means you're giving all of your power away to somebody else. Like, why the hell would you do that?
Well, and it also, like, chances are you maybe you stopped taking dance lessons. You maybe took a downshift in your career. You've stopped doing the things that you love to do. Maybe because, you put all your eggs in one basket. We all do that. It's okay. Put all your eggs in the relationship basket. But, maybe simulating this in your mind may make you realize, like, wait a minute, what do I have in terms of the other things in my life? The I circle of the 3 Venn diagrams, the I, the S, and the U. How am I growing? Because if that's a deflating balloon, not only will I be completely decimated if and when I find out my partner's straight, but I'm going to say there's even a chance that my deflating I balloon is going to set up a dynamic where my partner is more likely to stray because of the problems inherent with me being too freaking codependent on the relationship. How do you know I've been here before? Oh my God. Yes. Codependency. I'm such a codependent by, like, I slip and slide in there, and I have to keep pulling myself out and anchor yourself on the I, Anna. Keep building up that I circle and make it robust and strong. That's the key, really. Yeah. Oh, man.
None of us have any control over the future, really. It's like a blink of an eye. We don't know what's going to be, what is what will be. I think there's also a kind of sense of perspective, a sense of kind of not getting caught in this kind of worry cycle that just kind of plays on your mind. Like, so look for strategies to really cope with that anxiety. And again, it's about, I think, it comes back to that being present. Like, actually look at what you've got, appreciate what you've got, and really kind of celebrate that.
Yeah. Yes. I love it. That's like staring down the barrel of something very scary, but realizing that if you actually go into it as opposed to avoiding it, then you come out the other side and you're like, well, if my partner strays, but I'm going to be fine. And I can put steps in today, right? Be in choice and be in control of the things that will make me just a little bit more fine than if I didn't. We'll all be racked with emotional, like, you know, fuck nuttery, but it'll just be that a little bit easier.
Yeah. Make sure you keep your kind of network. Don't lose that when you get into a relationship. That's often kind of a thing that we see disappearing. Don't know whether to see it less with younger people than older people. I don't know. But you kind of, you know, people can kind of cut their relationships off. They sever kind of ties. They don't really invest in those other relationships. Like, you know, if something does happen further down the line, and it might not just be straying, it could be anything, you know, then where's that network? Keep it strong.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. In progress.
Indeed, as we all are.
Works in progress. All right.
Shall we do a question?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Get your ears ready for this week's question.
Okay.
I've been chatting with a guy. I asked what qualities he looked for in a girl. He said communication. And then he said someone who looks pretty and takes care of themselves. We talked about meeting in person, and I asked what he would say if I was bald. My hair stopped growing, and I'm not sure why. He said that he'd have to think about it again. I admired his honesty, but damn, it hurts. I feel like he's tossed me into the trash. I feel so unwanted and worthless. I can't stop crying.
Yeah.
So it's kind of akin to what we've just been talking about, right? Like, so it's that kind of rejection. It's that point where somebody says, actually, you're no longer my cup of tea. Or, you know, I thought you were Earl Grey and now I've realised that you're just a bog standard breakfast and I want something a bit, you know, more refined in my life. It's that point where somebody says, kind of, I thought it was a yes, but actually it's really a no.
Oh, man. And let's just remind ourselves it's actually a gift to be able to even hear that, because a lot of us just get ghosted, right? Ghosting is saying the same thing, except not having the guts to say it to somebody's face. Yeah. And then the person who is ghosted is sort of left to pick up the pieces and kind of cobble together some explanation and run with it. And it can, so even just hearing, I'm sorry, but you're not my cup of tea. At least we hear it from the horse's mouth. So I'm grateful when I hear that, but man, does that hurt. You know, and it gets to like this bigger thing of like, well, but shouldn't we all be looking at what's deep inside and not on the surface? And the reality is that is like physical attributes will be deal breakers for us. Like, I wish that weren't the case. I wish I could wave a magic wand, but like, and that's the horrible truth. So how do you hold frame as this person writing in who says, you know, I have a condition that has made me lose my hair. So how do I navigate in the dating world?
So I think there's a couple of things that stand out for me in that question. So one is, you know, she said, I don't know why it stopped. So she hasn't investigated this from a kind of health point of view. So I think, you know, there's something there, because there can be many things that can affect it, can't there? So stress, changes in environment, if you've had something that's happened, I think there's a delay, isn't there? Something like 6 months or something before a delay happens in the growth of your hair between something that might have happened with your health or traumatic experiences. So all of these things can play a part. So one, I would say for yourself, go and just investigate that, regardless of whatever happens in the future with dating or relationships or whatever. So that's one thing. The second thing I would say, kind of linked to what you were saying, is around, actually, yeah, this person has said, like, this is what I want. Now, the positive way to look at that is, okay, you said to me, actually, I'm not your cup of tea. That's brilliant, because now I no longer need to waste my time on you, because it's never going to go anywhere. I don't have to enter into that kind of uncertain, is it going to work, is it not going to work? That kind of, you know, maybe going through the motions for a few dates until then they kind of call it off. they've kind of like said, actually, like, what's the point of meeting up? We're probably not going to be a fit. Like, that is brilliant. But we see it as in a, you know, we kind of spin that pebble, don't we? So instead of seeing that as an opportunity to kind of then say, right, okay, I can move on from this. We're not a match. We're not aligned. Thanks very much. See you later. And I haven't wasted any more time. I haven't invested in it. But instead, there's this kind of flip of the coin where it's totally internalized. It's like, and it's the kind of the catastrophization of going to the nth degree, probably, I would imagine. Because, you know, this never-ending crying, this kind of real deep hurt and sadness means that I'm associating quite a lot with this.
Yeah. And
I've pinned quite a lot on it, on a few conversations online.
Oh, gosh, yes. Well, okay, so imagine that this person who says, nah, it's not a fit. It's because they play Dungeons and Dragons, and it's really, really important that their partner play Dungeons and Dragons with them. And this girl's like, I don't play. And he's like, I think this is the end of the road for us. And what would she be like? She'd be like, well, that's really ridiculous. Because it's not as emotionally charged, because Dungeons and Dragons, like if she really wanted to, she could learn the game if she was really into him. But she's like, yeah, no, I'm going to choose not to take that path. So you do you. Yeah. Sounds ridiculous. But she's not going to be crying for days on that. She's going to be like, well, that was stupid. But it's like the same thing. It's like a quality that somebody says that's not going to work. But when it comes to our appearance, it is so internalized. Yeah. There's so much shame. You're right.
Yeah. Because we've got a view, though, about what's expected, about what people find attractive, about, you know, we create this profile almost of what we believe is attractive to the opposite sex. And we know for a fact that, you know, next time you walk around the supermarket, because this used to be my thing when I was single. Oh, yeah. Was to look at people together, right? And go, either sometimes, yeah, I can see it, I can totally see why you're together. In other ways, kind of totally can't see why you're together. I watched this really funny sketch this morning as I was mindlessly scrolling, thinking I should probably get up, but I really don't want to yet. And it was about how she said about when you look at couples and you clearly see kind of like you can't see why they're together. And she described them as being a chocolate raisin.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I can't visualize. Say more. Hold on. So like a chocolate covered raisin?
Chocolate raisin is. Yeah. So like a sweet where it's, well, semi-sweet like. So it's a dried raisin inside and covered in chocolate. Yeah. And the type of sweet, right? So she described the couples as chocolate raisins. So she said one of them is the shriveled up dry bit of fruit that nobody's interested in. God. And the other one is the lovely sweet velvety chocolate that everybody's interested in. Yeah. She said, I'm not being funny, raisin, but I really think that you need to be with oatmeal. Much more bland and more in your category.
Oh my gosh.
So it did make me laugh, right? So and that's not to say that relationships are all about, it's not just about looks, right? This could be about kind of, you know, kind of showing a bit of oomph or having a bit of kind of life and vitality. You know, we can get different mismatches in kind of lots of different areas. But what I'm saying to you in this, with my kind of slight comedic effect, is there is a match, you know, and there are all kinds of strange, wonderful matches that work out there in the world. And none of us are to kind of really question that. And also not to kind of draw a conclusion that there's only one type of person for one type of person out there. And if you don't fit that profile, you ain't going anywhere, because that's just so not true.
It is true.
Take a wander around your local park, your supermarket, wherever people hang out, and just notice some of the differences.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. I mean, I really do believe this is like one of the things that holds us back from anything, whether we're dating and we've just faced rejection, or whether we're in a relationship that is ending. We think, oh my God, I'll never be with anybody. There's nobody out there for me. All of us are playing in such a small, tiny pond that, you know, and I have to remind myself all the time, just keep getting out there. Just keep getting out there. Like, you haven't met and shaken the hand of every 8 billion plus people out there in the world. So till you do that, you don't lose hope, and you just keep getting yourself out there.
Although some of those 8 billion are probably a bit young for dating yet, aren't they?
I mean, it's got or a little old, or is there such a thing? I don't know. If I was dating like an 108-year-old Sardinian in the blue zone part of Sardinia, I think that would actually be pretty cool because those guys are like still driving, like playing cards, hauling wood, yeah.
There is someone out there for everybody.
There is.
Yeah,
that's right.
So I take some time here, really think about the words that you've used in this question because, and reverse it. Think actually, how is that not true? How am I not trash? How am I worthy? And think of evidence to support that as opposed to focusing on some of those more negative descriptions of yourself.
Yeah, you've got it.
We are all beautiful in some shape or form, and we all have something to offer and give.
And it gets to your point, and we first have to recognize it ourselves. And just by flying that flag proudly and confidently, we sell others to the idea. I mean, it's all marketing and branding, right? Everything is.
But we know that like energy attracts like energy.
Totally.
So the more we put out into the world that kind of this is who we are, this is how great we are, then the more we'll attract that.
Yeah, because people will be sold. Like, this person is great. Yeah. Oh, that is actually true. Because she may not be rejected because she's lost her hair. She may be rejected because of the lack of confidence and the insecure energy that she's giving off because of that. So it's very likely and entirely a projection. Yeah, you've got it.
There's quite a theme today, actually. I think of self-celebration and, recognizing your own worthiness. That comes strongly through today's podcast.
Oh my gosh, totally. Which is like, you are your own cheerleader and coach in your own corner, right? Like,
absolutely.
You can enjoy invite other people, but you are always going to be in your own corner. And so darn well, pick up your socks and be a good coach, man. Learn some cheerleading drills, right? Like, totally. Yeah. Learn some cheers. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope that there is some sleep and rest in your near future because you're going to need it.
I'm going straight to bed.
At this point, I think I'm going to as well, man.
I'm not pass and go. I tell you, I'm absolutely bushed.
Yep. No, that's you deserve that.
I am totally listening to my body right now, and I am going to seek a blanket quite quickly.
You've got it. I like it. I think I'm going to join you, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Only within the same location. We could just snuggle up on the couch.
Oh, look at that. Eat popcorn and watch a nice rom-com.
Oh, I'm in. Oh, don't ask me twice.
You've got it. Oh, well, I hope you get some rest. And thank you for showing up so energetically to our podcast, despite nearly wanting to fall asleep. In it to win it.
Absolutely. Yes, always there.
Always there.
All right. Till next time. So that's it for another week of Geordie Lass and Doc Sass. We hope you've enjoyed listening as much as we've enjoyed chatting. Get in touch and share your questions for relationship remedies and any hot topics you want us to cover. If you need help navigating all things relationships, Anna and Sara are available for one-on-one coaching support. Email info@geordielass.com. Please remember to like, share, subscribe if you've enjoyed listening. And if you've not, how on earth have you made it this far? I promise we'll try harder next time.